Okay, so most important thing is remembering that Moore's law is running at full speed, and your action item is to make sure that you are doing everything you can to stay ahead of that curve and take advantage of it. Let's talk about a couple of companies that didn't. Motorola sort of assumed when they launched their great little Razr flip phone, groundbreaking, super awesome, amazing, sleek, tiny little phone, and they were at the forefront, the king of the phone industry, and sort of presumed that that was about as far as it was going to go, as small as the phone was going to get, and the coolest that it could be. Well, Moore's law in action created more power on chips of the same size or smaller that gave rise to things like the iPhone. And companies like Apple were paying very close attention to Moore's law, and in fact working very hard to help accelerate and even build technologies that got ahead of 2 times the number of transistors every 2 years, and said, hey, we can build some chips and work with our partners and suppliers and build subcomponents that are on the order of 5 times, 10 times more transistors per chip. And what is that going to do for us? That's going to give us capabilities like you've seen with a product like iPhone. Something to think about. Okay, so the other building block, mobile. Talking about scale, this is now officially, as of last year, the next $1 trillion industry. It's not the next, it is now. A couple others, the automotive industry, which maybe isn't a $1 trillion industry at the moment, but it certainly was in its prime. This is huge. Literally $1 trillion in revenue generated from the carriers every year now. Twice the size of air travel, twice the size of all of the other broadcast media combined. Radio, TV, all of that. And twice the size of the IT industry as a whole. It dwarfs everything, dwarfs the business I'm in. We're supposed to be in mobile, we're just starting to figure it out at Google. And it's way bigger than us. Remember this slide? It's a big one. Mobile phone subscriptions continue to grow, and it's particularly prevalent in emerging markets and developing countries, where not even smartphones are necessary for these countries to be able to do very, very efficient things. Commerce transactions are being completely redefined by SMS. And, you know, SMS is sort of feels like old school technology to us, but in countries where you don't have a big internet infrastructure, you don't have computers, you don't have smartphones, you have to get inventive. And so they've done that. They've done that all the way through municipalities, government, and the private sector. Let's give you kind of an example of how SMS fits into this whole picture. Today's world is all about the real-time web, and we'll talk about that in a minute. It's no more about just doing a blog post or updating your website. Nobody cares about that. They want to know what you're thinking right now, today. Otherwise, it's not relevant. So time suddenly has meaning in this world. Twitter and tweets, it's becoming ubiquitous. Tweeting is, you know, a new verb like Googling was years ago. But it's pretty small in comparison to the number of people that are texting worldwide. There are nearly 3 times more SMS users than there are people that have physical installed landlines in the world. And that number is also growing exponentially. The only reason people really have landlines at all, certainly in their homes, is to support their DSL connection. And even that's starting to go by the wayside with cable and satellite. This is huge, huge stuff. In certain countries, you can actually go up to a bank without an ATM card, because they don't really have ATM cards. It's just a dispensing machine. And you can text your withdrawal from the bank, and it will kick the money out. It's amazing.